What if I told you that the one thing you've been told to do for your circulation might not be enough? You walk every day. You stay active. You try to do the right thing. And yet, your feet still feel cold. Your legs still feel heavy, sometimes even a little unsteady. So you start to wonder, am I doing something wrong? But here's the truth most people never hear. It's not that you're not moving enough, it's that you're not activating the right system. Because walking, especially the way most people do it, is often too gentle, too automatic, too dependent on momentum. It doesn't fully engage the muscles responsible for pushing blood back up to your heart. And that's the key. Your body doesn't just rely on movement. It relies on muscle activation. Deep, controlled contractions that act like a pump, moving blood upward against gravity. Without that pump, blood begins to slow down. It pools in your lower legs. Oxygen delivery drops. And over time, your legs start to feel cold, swollen, and weak. This is why so many people walk every day and still don't see improvement, because they're doing what they've been told, but missing what actually matters. And here's where it gets even more important. There's a specific part of your body, sometimes called your second heart, that plays a critical role in circulation. But most people have never been taught how to activate it, and without it, no amount of walking can fully solve the problem. So, if you've been walking consistently, but still feel like something isn't improving, you're not alone, and you're not failing. You're just missing one key piece. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover what that missing piece is, and how a few simple movements can completely change the way your body circulates blood. Because once you understand this, you'll never look at exercise the same way again. Here's the part most people don't realize. Poor circulation in the legs isn't rare. In fact, it's incredibly common, especially as we age. According to health data, nearly 1 in 5 adults over the age of 70 is affected by a condition called peripheral artery disease, or PAD. And the most concerning part? Most of them don't even know it, because the symptoms don't feel serious. They don't come with sharp pain or obvious warning signs. Instead, they show up quietly. Cold feet, swollen ankles, a heavy, tired feeling in the legs. Small changes that are easy to ignore, easy to explain away. You might think, it's just aging, or I've been on my feet all day. But these signs are not random. They are signals. Signals that your circulation may not be working the way it should. And when these signals are ignored, the consequences can slowly build. Blood flow becomes less efficient. Oxygen delivery to your tissues decreases. Healing takes longer. Your legs feel weaker. Balance becomes less stable, and over time, this can increase the risk of something much more serious: falls, infections, and, in severe cases, even tissue damage that may require medical intervention. But here's what makes this dangerous. It doesn't happen all at once. It progresses gradually, step by step, without urgency, without alarm, until one day, the problem is no longer small. This is why awareness matters. Because recognizing these early signs is the difference between managing the problem early or dealing with the consequences later. Your body is not failing you. It's trying to tell you something. The question is, are you paying attention? To understand why circulation in your legs begins to slow down, you need to understand one simple but powerful concept. Your legs have their own pumping system, and it's often called your second heart. This system is made up of your calf muscles. Every time these muscles contract even slightly, they press against the deep veins in your lower legs. And that pressure pushes blood upward, back toward your heart. Because here's the challenge your body faces. Blood in your legs has to travel against gravity. Without help, it would simply stay there, pooling in your feet and ankles. But your body has a solution. Inside, your veins are tiny one-way valves. They allow blood to move up, but prevent it from falling back down. And when your calf muscles contract, they act like a pump, squeezing the veins, pushing blood upward step by step. This is how healthy circulation is maintained, not just by the heart, but by movement, by muscle activation. Now here's where the problem begins. As we age, or when we sit for long periods, these calf muscles become less active. We move less. We contract them less. And over time, the second heart becomes weaker. When that happens, the pumping action slows down. Blood doesn't move as efficiently. It starts to pool in the lower legs. Pressure builds. Swelling appears. Oxygen delivery decreases. and your legs begin to feel heavy, cold, or tired. This is not because your heart isn't working. It's because the support system, the one designed to help it, is no longer fully engaged. And here's the key insight. Walking alone doesn't always activate this pump effectively, especially if the steps are short, slow, or lack strong muscle contraction. So even if you're moving, you may not be pumping. And without that pumping action, circulation cannot improve the way it should. That's why understanding this mechanism matters. Because once you realize that your calf muscles are not just for movement, but for circulation, you begin to see why the right type of activation can completely change how your body functions. Your second heart is always there. The question is, are you using it? One of the most common mistakes people make when trying to improve circulation is believing that walking alone is enough. It sounds logical. Walking is natural, it's low impact, and it's been recommended for years as the safest form of exercise. So you follow the advice. You walk every day. You stay consistent. And yet, nothing really changes. Your feet still feel cold. Your legs still feel heavy. The swelling doesn't go away. And that leads to frustration. But here's what most people don't realize. Walking, especially at a slow, comfortable pace, is often too gentle to activate the deeper muscle system your body depends on for circulation. When you walk casually, your movement relies more on momentum than muscle contraction. Your steps are shorter. Your muscles don't fully engage. And the calf pump, the second heart that pushes blood upward, remains only partially active. So, even though you're moving, you're not generating enough pressure to drive blood efficiently back to your heart. And this isn't just theory. Research has shown that in older adults, walking alone does not significantly improve venous return unless the pace reaches a certain intensity, a level that many people either cannot maintain safely or shouldn't attempt. Which means this: you can be walking regularly and still not be improving your circulation. Not because walking is wrong, but because it's incomplete. It doesn't target the system that needs the most support. This is why so many people feel stuck. They're doing what they've been told, but missing what actually works. And the result? Blood continues to pool, symptoms remain, and progress feels slow or non-existent. The problem isn't effort, it's direction. And once you understand that, you can start making changes that actually make a difference. At this point, the most important shift you need to make is simple, but powerful. The problem is not that you're not moving enough, it's that you're not activating the right muscles. Because movement alone is not what drives circulation. Activation is. Your body doesn't respond to how long you move. It responds to how effectively your muscles contract, especially the muscles that act as pumps. When these muscles engage properly, they create pressure. They push blood upward. They support your heart. But when they don't, movement becomes passive. You're going through the motion, but not creating the effect. And this is where most people get stuck. They focus on doing more. More walking, more time, more effort. But the real solution is not more. It's better activation, more intentional movement, more controlled contraction, more awareness of what your body is actually doing. Once you understand this, everything changes. You stop thinking in terms of exercise and start thinking in terms of function. Instead of asking, how long should I walk? You begin asking, which muscles am I activating? That shift alone can transform your results, because now every movement has a purpose. Every repetition becomes effective. And instead of feeling like you're trying harder, you start feeling like your body is finally responding. This is not about pushing yourself more. It's about working with your body, the way it was designed to function. And once you make that shift, you're no longer guessing. You're training with intention. Let's start with the first movement. And at first glance, it may seem almost too simple to matter. Ankle pumps. Just sitting and moving your feet up and down. No equipment, no intensity, nothing complicated. And that's exactly why most people underestimate it. But here's the truth. This small movement directly activates one of the most important systems in your body. Your calf pump, also known as your second heart. Every time you flex your foot upward and then press it down, your calf muscles contract. And when they contract, they squeeze the deep veins in your legs, pushing blood upward back toward your heart. Even without standing, even without walking. This is why ankle pumps are widely used in medical settings. especially in recovery and rehabilitation, because they work. In fact, research has shown that performing simple seated ankle pumps multiple times a day can significantly reduce swelling in the lower legs, improve circulation, and decrease discomfort, even in older adults who are not physically active. And the best part? You can do them anywhere, while sitting on a chair, watching TV, reading, or even after meals. There's no barrier to starting. Here's how to do it. Sit comfortably with your feet flat on the floor. Lift your toes upward toward your shins while keeping your heels down. Then, press your toes into the floor and lift your heels. Move slowly. Controlled. That's 1 repetition. Aim for 20 to 30 repetitions, 2 to 3 times per day. The key is not intensity. It's consistency, because this movement is not about effort. It's about waking up the system that keeps your blood flowing. If this second heart stays inactive, blood begins to pool, swelling increases, and your legs start to feel heavy and tired. But with just a few minutes of intentional movement, you can reverse that process. And it all starts with something as simple as this. Now let's move to the second exercise. And again, it may look simple at first. Seated leg lifts. Just sitting in a chair and lifting one leg at a time. No heavy movement. No complicated technique. But don't let the simplicity fool you. Because this movement targets something walking often misses. Your thigh muscles, especially the quadriceps and hip flexors. These muscles do more than just help you move. They play a key role in supporting circulation. Every time they contract, they compress the larger veins in your upper legs, helping push blood back toward your heart, just like your calves do in your lower legs. But here's the problem. As we age, these muscles tend to weaken. Our steps become shorter, softer, less forceful, which means the thighs are no longer fully activated during walking. And when they don't engage properly, blood flow becomes less efficient. Stiffness builds. Mobility decreases. Simple movements like standing up, climbing stairs, or walking longer distances start to feel more difficult. This is where seated leg lifts become powerful. They allow you to retrain these muscles safely and effectively, without pressure on your joints, without needing to stand. Here's how to do it. Sit upright in a sturdy chair. Keep your back supported, feet flat on the ground. Slowly lift one leg straight out in front of you. Keep your knee as straight as comfortable. Hold for about 2 seconds, then lower it slowly. Repeat 10 to 15 times on each leg. Focus on control, not speed. If you want to increase the challenge later, you can add light ankle weights or a resistance band. Even a small amount of resistance can make a noticeable difference. Over time, this movement helps rebuild strength, improve stability, and support better circulation. Because stronger thighs don't just help you move, they help your body function more efficiently. And that's what makes this exercise so valuable. Now we move to the third exercise. And this is where things start to come together. Because instead of choosing between walking or muscle activation, you combine both. This is called the calf pump walk. At first, it may look like normal walking, but there's one critical difference: control and pause. Instead of simply stepping forward and letting momentum carry you, you slow down, and at the top of each step, you pause briefly on the balls of your feet. That pause is everything, because it creates a stronger contraction in your calf muscles. And that contraction is what activates your second heart. When you rise slightly onto your toes and hold for just a moment, your calves squeeze the deep veins more effectively, pushing blood upward with greater force. Without that pause, most of the movement is lost. It becomes passive. But with that pause, it becomes intentional. And that's what changes the result. Here's how to do it. Stand upright and walk slowly. As you take a step, push off the ground and rise slightly onto your toes. Hold that position for 2 to 3 seconds. Then, lower your heel and take the next step. Keep your movements controlled. Don't rush. The goal is not distance. It's activation. Start with 10 to 15 slow, controlled steps, and gradually increase as you feel more stable. You can also use a wall, chair, or countertop for support if needed. Now here's something important. This movement doesn't just improve circulation. It also trains your balance and coordination, because that pause challenges your body to stabilize, to control your position, to respond in real time. And that directly reduces your risk of falling, which becomes increasingly important over time. So, this exercise gives you 3 benefits in one: better circulation, stronger calf activation, and improved balance. It's not about walking more, it's about walking smarter. And once you feel the difference, you'll understand why this simple change matters so much. The 4th exercise may look the simplest of all, but it's one of the most powerful: single leg balance. Just standing on one leg. That's it. No movement, no equipment. And yet, this one exercise is closely linked to something most people don't expect: your long-term independence and even lifespan. Because balance is not just about staying upright. It reflects how well your nervous system, muscles, and coordination are working together. When you stand on one leg, your body has to activate multiple systems at once. Your ankle stabilizes, your calf muscles engage, your hips adjust, your core tightens, and your brain constantly makes small corrections to keep you steady. This creates continuous muscle activation, not just a quick contraction, but sustained engagement, which means your second heart stays active longer, helping maintain better circulation. But there's more. This movement also trains something called proprioception, your body's ability to sense position and balance. And this is critical, because as this ability declines, the risk of falling increases, often before you even notice weakness or pain. Studies have shown that individuals who cannot maintain a single leg stance for even a short period of time are at a significantly higher risk of falls and mobility loss, which directly impacts independence over time. Here's how to do it safely. Stand next to a chair, wall, or countertop. Lightly rest one hand for support. Shift your weight onto one leg. Lift the other foot just slightly off the ground. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds. Then switch sides. Repeat 2 times on each leg. Focus on steady breathing and controlled posture. As you improve, reduce the amount of support you use. This is not about pushing yourself. It's about training your system to respond. Because strong balance doesn't just prevent falls. It keeps you moving confidently. And that changes everything. Now we come to the most important movement of all. If there's one exercise you take away from this video, it should be this one: standing calf pump. At first glance, it looks almost too simple. You're just standing, rising onto your toes, and holding. That's it. But inside your body, something powerful is happening. Because this movement directly activates your second heart at its full capacity. When you rise onto the balls of your feet, your calf muscles contract strongly. They compress the deep veins in your legs, and that compression creates pressure, pushing blood upward toward your heart against gravity. But here's the key difference: the hold. When you pause at the top for a few seconds, you maintain that pressure. You give your body enough time to move blood effectively. Without that hold, the effect is limited. But with it, you turn a simple movement into a powerful circulation exercise. This is why this movement is widely used in vascular rehabilitation programs, including recovery after leg surgery. Because it doesn't just support circulation, it actively improves it. Research has shown that performing this movement consistently can reduce swelling in the lower legs, improve walking endurance, enhance balance and stability, all without high impact or stress on the joints. Here's how to do it. Stand behind a chair or near a wall for support. Keep your feet hip-width apart. Slowly rise onto the balls of your feet. Lift your heels as high as comfortable. Hold at the top for 3 to 5 seconds, then lower slowly over another 3 seconds. Start with 8 to 10 repetitions, and gradually increase to 15-20 as you get stronger. Focus on control, not speed, because the power of this exercise comes from precision, not intensity. Over time, this movement helps restore proper blood flow, reduce pooling in the legs, and strengthen the system that keeps your body stable and active. It may look simple, but it's one of the most effective tools you have. And once you start using it consistently, you'll begin to feel the difference where it matters most. At the end of the day, the message is simple. It's not just about aging. It's about how you're using your body. Because many of the changes people accept as normal over time are actually the result of underuse or incorrect activation. Your body hasn't lost its ability. It's just not being used the right way. And the good news? That can change. Starting today. You don't need to do everything at once. Just begin with one movement, Stay consistent and give your body the chance to respond. Try this for the next 7 days and pay attention to how your legs feel, your energy, your balance. You may be surprised by what changes. And now, I'd like to hear from you. Which of these exercises are you going to try first? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, share it with someone who needs it, because small actions today can lead to stronger, more confident movement tomorrow.